The Palm Sunday celebration draws local Christians and pilgrims to one of the most exciting celebrations around the edicule of the Holy Sepulcher. This is where the pilgrimage of the apostles and women began at dawn on Resurrection Day. The most important holy site for the Christian world receives millions of pilgrims from all over the world who come here to venerate the empty tomb, the site of Jesus' resurrection, a place venerated by kings and popes with a very ancient and well-documented history. In this short special, we will try to follow the biblical texts, the marks left by the first pilgrims, as we walk through the archaeological remains that bear witness to the passage of centuries. The subsoil of the garden, the cut rocks, the stumps of walls sunken below the Constantinian level are precise reminders of the topography of human salvation. With Brother Eugenio Alliata, we see part of this rock that is still there in the Calvary Chapel and goes down to Adam's Chapel, St. Helen's Chapel, and other parts of the Basilica. The rock appeared very interesting in itself because the whole environment proved to be a large stone quarry, a stone quarry used in ancient times, perhaps more than once. The rock is called Malaki in the local language, which means royal. Calvary, as the Gospels testify, must have been outside the city. An important piece of information is that in the Iron Age, which corresponds to the Old Testament period, the city of Jerusalem did not stretch as far as here. This place was outside the city of Jerusalem. However, its walls and the houses of the city were not far away. Therefore, it was an ideal area because it was close to the city, close to the buildings, to quarry stones for construction. This quarry is widespread everywhere, even outside the area of the Basilica. From the quarry, we move on to an area outside the city used as cultivation. We then also move on to its funerary use with burials, and Christ's tomb appears to be one of these burials that were there at the time. And here we are in the ordeal part. In the rock part, it even rises above the floor level for more than 4 meters. It appears as a rock, a protruding rock, and that is what it is already called in the sources. Brother Alliata cites sources such as St. Jerome, who speaks of this cliff, pilgrimage area who meticulously tells of the celebrations she attended. So the situation seen today in this chapel called Adam's Chapel, which is located below the Calvary Chapel, bears witness to this whole story. From Calvary to the cave of St. Helena, where the cross of Jesus was found. In fact, that is where the crosses of those crucified on Calvary were thrown. We are in one of the deepest places in the quarry, which is 12 meters below the level of the crucifixion rock. And this is one of the places also that was actually excavated, investigated, studied by Virgil Corbo during his work. The property belongs to the Franciscans, so he had the freedom to proceed with the permission of the superiors with the archaeological investigation.
Procedere col permesso dei superiori all'indagine archeologica.
Emperor Hadrian, to erase Jewish and Christian memory, rebuilt the city and called it Aelia Capitolina. The site of Golgotha and the sepulchre disappeared under the bulk of the new temple dedicated to Venus. In 325, Constantine decided to dismantle these works, these temples, these public works of the city, the colony, Aelia Capitolina. And he decided to build a great shrine glorifying the place of Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. So the excavation was big and long. That's why it took 10 years to build the basilica, here where we are. We are in the church of St. Helen, or Chapel of St. Helen, which is owned by the Armenian Church. It was from here that after the Council of Nicaea, after 325, the great work on the construction of the Basilica of Constantine began. Here we can clearly observe those rock cuts of the old abandoned quarry, and the construction with large stone blocks also reused, even from earlier Roman times. To build what? What we see here is precisely the nave of this large basilica. These walls then supported the colonnade of the nave, which is more than 13 meters wide. Here we are in the foundation, very deep. We are at least 6 to 7 meters below the floor level of the great Basilica of Constantine. It was built between 325 and 336, so it took a good 10 years. On the ancient walls is the sign of the passage of many pilgrims over the centuries.
Su questi muri medievali di questa cripta,
Pictured on these medieval walls of this crypt, this underground church commemorating the finding of the Holy Cross. We see many graffitied crosses of all kinds. Some look alike, some are very different from each other. They are evidence of the passage of so many pilgrims, so many Christians who over the centuries have come here in faith and visited the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre.
la Basilica del Santo Sepolcro.
In the next installment, we will present from the earliest archaeological excavations to today, evidence that confirms what was left written by those who witnessed the events.